This is the shocking moment a tattoo-covered cocaine gang Kingpin is arrested in just his pants. Cops uncovered he was leading a group distributing cocaine.
From the bright lights and bright future of an up-and-coming football athlete to the darkest corners of society, Owen Hanson's story is just like the story of Jessie Pinkman. And much like Pinkman, his story ends on a sour note. A man with everything to lose chose a path of evil despite having the tools to stay on the straight and narrow. How could such a promising soul fall so far, so quickly? He was always suited for ball games. From an early age, an appreciation and respect for sportsmanship, the sporting spirit, and the love for physical activity had been ingrained in him. The reason is simple. His family and its culture were strongly tied to sports. You couldn't go to a family gathering without some kind of argument about sports or sports teams. The zeal for sports was strong, and it rubbed off on Owen, resulting in him developing an obsession with football at a young age. You'd expect someone who'd have been playing football as long as he can remember to be great at football. And you'd be right. He wasn't just a good athlete, he was the perfect football player. During their time at the University of Southern California, he was able to develop a reputation as one of the best footballers in his college, being able to deal with high stress and extreme physical excursion on top of having excellent teamwork and physical skills. However, the respect of everyone around him and the joy that comes with being a master of your passion wasn't enough for Owen. There were underlying issues with him. This was made worse when he hit a brick wall. He was stagnating in rank, and in every other way, each match was slowly leaving him injured, and he was less and less fit for football by the day. Frustration was mounting within him, and eventually, he made a decision that was rash, even for him. At the frats of the USC, it wasn't uncommon for people to be embroiled in the drug trade. College students are easy marks when it comes to getting new people addicted to drugs. Their young age makes them easy to manipulate because they are too young to properly regulate their frustrations and emotions. So it's easy to find someone who's frustrated in life and offer them the world. That is precisely what happened to Owen. The promise of money and luxuries was something that got to his head. His charisma, physical stature, and ability made him perfect for this sort of illegal work. Would you want to get into a fight with a guy who's twice your size and could hurl you across the room like an old rotting avocado? Besides, if the cops, he'd have enough experience running through the football court to run from the cops, which is to say, he was perfect. Young, easy to manipulate, charismatic, and physically capable. Eventually, he was able to climb up to the position of middleman, a drug dealer, and the drug dealer's dealer. And then finally, he became a kingpin. His organization was involved in large-scale drug trafficking. They specialized in cocaine and methamphetamines across the US. With his sportsman mindset, he was able to capitalize on this success and able to approach the drug trade like a business. Consistency, goals, and reliability. All of these were virtues that he worried hard to uphold, like a sportsman. He knew that the only way to get better was to consistently get better and to challenge yourself to reach ever-increasing goals, and that the best goals are the ones that you can achieve reliably and consistently. This made him a formidable and disciplined businessman, and by extension, one of the drug world's most feared figures. As you might have remembered, what was Owen's main reason for entering the world of drugs? It was that he was dejected after hitting a dead end with his football career, but in addition to that, it was also the money. It was always about the money. Mansions, sports cars, private jets, drugs, expensive alcohol, raging parties like in college, but bigger, better, and more expensive. However, there was a tension in the air. All of his expenses and the fact that he was not officially employed anywhere but was still rich rubbed people the wrong way. This couldn't possibly be legal or genuine. Owen could feel the suspicions. There was a shadow following him. This was making him paranoid. It could be one of his henchmen or an informant, and his wealth could come crashing down at any moment. and this was slowly driving him into paranoia. Owen's fears were beginning to become reality. The water was boiling and the lobster was starting to cook. The FBI and DEA were made aware of his operations and began to launch investigations into his organization. It didn't take long to gather evidence, however. They still needed to track his location and ensnare him. After installing wiretaps, surveilling him, and singing undercover operatives, they were able to gather loads of evidence of no type. In 2017, the feds were closing in. They were able to close down strategic smuggling routes and operation points of his organization. His supply lines were disrupted, and his power was scattered. Like ripping the wings off a mosquito, he had no way to escape. And when the Fed were at his, it's clear that, as they say, his goose was cooked. He was charged with conspiracy to distribute drugs, racketeering, and other serious crimes. The authorities revealed that his operation involved the importing and distributing of millions of dollars worth of cocaine and methamphetamine. In 2018, Hanson was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to drug trafficking and racketeering. All of this just so that he could rot in a cell. He wasted a perfectly good life only to waste it, to turn into a drug lord who would have made his parents disappointed. There is limited source from the man himself. However, we can speculate that his motives involved a post-athlete identity crisis, a desire for wealth and power, and having friends who were already involved in the drug trade. In addition to this, he may have developed an addiction, something that should have been a short stint as a drug dealer, which resulted in the adrenaline rush so strong that he got addicted to the feeling and couldn't give up on crime because it made him feel alive. At the start of the video, I called him the real-life Jessie Pinkman, and that is for a reason. That is because they both started as promising young youths who went down a dark path. Like Jessie Pinkman, Owen was unable to transition from his life as an athlete to the normal life of a college student. Not only just that, he was an innocent person who was manipulated by those around him to go deep into the drug trade, spiraling in the drug trade more and more over time. And just like Jessie, he was too dumb and immature to be in the drug trade. The first taste of money activated all of his vices and often led him to live large and dumb, often falling into his vices, making it easy for the demands of the drug trade to sink into him with promises of money and freedom. Just like Pinkman, he was an innocent man who built a drug empire only for it to inevitably collapse under the thumb of the FBI and DEA. Owen Hanson's story is a stark reminder of how a promising future can be derailed by a moment of poor judgment, a thirst for power, and the lure of easy money. Like Jessie Pinkman, his fall from grace is both tragic and inevitable, a tale of innocence lost to the chaos of the drug trade. The world may never know all the internal struggles and decisions that led him down this dark path, but the result is clear. A man with everything to lose chose a life that would eventually cost him his freedom, his reputation, and perhaps his very soul. What makes Hanson's story so chilling is how easily he could have remained the bright college athlete he was meant to be, but instead, he became a kingpin who played a dangerous game, only to lose everything in the end. His journey from football fields to federal prison serves as a haunting reminder that no one is immune to the allure of temptation, and no one is untouchable. In the end, Owen Hanson's fall mirrors the tragic arc of so many before him, and it's a tale that could have been avoided if only the right choices had been made. Now he sits in a prison cell, a cautionary tale for anyone who thinks they can outrun the law or their demons. It's a dark chapter in the book of life and a sobering reminder that sometimes the very things that make us great can also be the very things that bring us down.